So I'm just trying to get used to working with this. So I'm not recording you, I'm just looking at the menu. Are they any good? Have you been in there before? But aye, this is West Nile Street. I kind of like, as I say, it's kind of got a mind of its own, this thing. I'm not too sure how it works. I mean, I could have just used the ordinary one and just kind of no use the app and just use the directional keypad on it. But this has got zoom in it as well, so I can zoom into different things. That's the Tron Church there right in the middle. West Nile Street at West George Street. West George Street kind of continues on the other side of George Square. Because I used to always think West George Street was the other side of George Square. It's no. And that's Yo. And that there's a continuation of West Nile Street down there. But that being said, it's a Japanese restaurant, that Yo. And this is Nelson Mandela Place here on the left. And they used to have the South African embassy down here. And during the anti-apartheid situation that was in Africa, they actually renamed the street for the South African embassy Nelson Mandela Place, and that's why it's called Nelson Mandela Place, to annoy the South African government, because that's where the South African embassy was in Glasgow. So I need to be careful I don't get run over by a taxi. And that's the Tron Church in there. As I say, and there's Pisa Corolla right there on the corner, right in the middle. The chips are alright as well, by the way, in there. And I'm needing a pee. So, see these Scottish shops, see that there, that says Scottish shop. There's quite a few of them. I don't know if they're owned by Scottish people, but and that there's the, it's like kind of an Italian restaurant there, but to the right of that, it's called The Botanist. I don't know if that's an Italian or what, I'm not 100% sure. I think, to be fair, I think that's one of the Thai restaurants. I know that that's a Thai restaurant there. It's called the Kayo Freya, something like that. As I say, it's and that there's the very top of Buchanan Street. As you can see, it's absolutely mobbed because it's coming up to Christmas. Hello. And that's the church. There's actually two churches that are the Tron. I think one broke away from the other for because they had different views on certain interpretations of certain things that were written in religious texts, so to speak, without using the basic instructions before leaving earthward. But a lot of these phone booths don't really get used anymore. And this is West George Street. It's still West George Street. It doesn't become George Street until it's on the other side of the George Square. George Square is well known in Glasgow. Waxy O'Connor's. It's Waxy O'Connor's. There used to be a nightclub down here called Peggy Sue's. I never went to it, but I know a few people that did. A lot of the people for the residential school, Cafe Nero, Queen Street Station, just coming up here on the left hand side. But that building there, I used to know a guy, David, that worked in there. I used to be a bank in there. It used to be the Clydesdale, but the Clydesdale was bought over by Virgin Bank. So it doesn't actually, Clydesdale doesn't really exist. Actually, Clydesdale was an Australian bank, believe it or not. I used to think it was Scottish. That's Glasgow Queen Street Station now. That's the main entrance. And it's called Queen Street, but it's really at the end of Queen Street. It's not really it's not on Queen Street, it's at the end of Queen Street. And you've got your taxi ranks around here. Not too sure. Number 38 bus, I think that goes up to Cumbernauld. And the buildings on the right, it's kind of hard to have a look at. These are that building there. I'll try and zoom right up at it. There's over 1,000 listed buildings in Glasgow. of which I don't really know the history of half of them, not even one or two of them. I'm going to need to start reading up on stuff, because no point in doing a walkabout if people aren't going to. And this is still West George Street, and that there is the George Square, which is the, and then the other side, right in the centre of that, is the Glasgow City Chambers, and that's the main entrance to Queen Street Station. So I need to be careful here that I don't get squashed. So the green man zone, I'm going to need to run. That's a guy getting into his taxi. This you used to be able to drive around this, but you can't now. They've blocked this bit off. This bit's all blocked off. And these are all statues. These are statues. There's about quite a few statues in there. This one here is Robert Peel. Robert Peel was actually the person who started off the police service. Robert Peel. That's him there. Bobby Peel, and in Northern Ireland they still call the police service the Peelers. I used to always wonder why they used to call the cops in Northern Ireland the Peelers. And that building there is, that there building on the very last bit there, but right at that corner where they're all sitting, it's like an outdoor restaurant. That's the outdoor restaurant for a pub called the Counting House. And in there it's called the Counting House because it used to be a bank. It used to be a bank. I don't know what bank it was, but it used to be a bank anyway. And these buildings are listed as well.
That guy ran over.
The architecture is absolutely phenomenal. And there's a guy on a horse. I don't know if the plaque's this side or it's on the other side. I'll go and have a wee look. Plaque. Baron Carlo Marocchetti. Baron Carlo Marocchetti. Baron Carlo, and that's the big kind of obelisk. And there's normally always a big seagull right in the top of it, which I think there is today actually. Must be great being a seagull. I don't know who that is though. But we'll find out. I just think that there should have a bigger plaque on it, but it doesn't. I just think just having a tiny wee thing like that is, no. And there's a lot of people commemorated on these things, you know, so they should have a plaque there telling people who they are. Basically they just call them plinths and they put people on them, statues and stuff. That's it. It's a beautiful city, Glasgow. And that there is Queen Street. That actual Queen Street kind of starts on one side of George Square, and that's the station there, and it goes there, and this is not George, this is George Square here, and then it kind of continues on the other side, and that's Greg's there. And I don't know who this is. Alright, Albert Prince Consort. I think that's Albert, that's one of the king's uncles or something. Albert, whoever he is. What does it say? Oh, by the way, that monument that I just spoke about, that's the guy that made the monument, that's not the guy on the monument. Albert Prince Consort. So he was the consort to the Queen. Or some sort, I don't know. I'm not a history buff. By rights I should be, right enough. And whoever this is, Sir Francis Charter. Look him up. See, I was James Watt, inventor and mechanical engineer, unveiled in 1832. His statue was the work of Chauncey. That's it then. James Watt, born 1736, died 1819. He was a Scottish inventor and mechanical engineer. Oh, that's what you call That's what you call well remembered, isn't it? I know it's George Square, that's where everybody sits when it's a nice hot day and they have things like... And that's the Millennium Hotel over there. I knew somebody that got married in there. It used to be called the Copthorne. And I don't know who this... what this thing here is, this big monolith, this big... Who's on the statue? I don't know who's on the statue. It's still on George Square, and a lot of people like to sit in the grass here as well.
No, ja sam przemyślał...
To commemorate the military service of Lieutenant Central Sir John Moore, KB, native of Glasgow, his fellow citizens have erected this monument, 1819. A lot of these statues are, it's not a lot of them. Well, there is a lot of them. This is a field marshal of some sort. Field marshal, goodness me, this guy's got more letters after his name than Bonnie and Clyde. Field Marshal Lord Clyde CCB KSI, born in Glasgow 20th October 1792. This memorial of his distinguished military service is erected by his fellow citizens, 1867. I'll try and get a right good look at him. There we go. There he is. Lord Clyde. I think the River Clyde might have been named after him, and there's another guy over there. That's the guy we were at before. Let me zoom in on him. There. That was the last one. Never got you much here. That's just a times one, really. And Thomas Campbell, poet, born 77, sorry, died 1844. I've not really took much yet. And that's Walter Scott. Oh, that's right, it's Walter Scott. It's the Walter Scott Monument. Walter Scott was a writer. He wrote Ivanhoe. That much I do know. And this here's the War Memorial for the Second World War. And that's where all the reefs, they lay the reefs there. And behind that is the Glasgow City Chambers. It's one of the most beautiful buildings I've ever saw at night. This is literally, it's not the centre of Glasgow, but it's not far away from it. And I think they call these things cenotaphs, where there's not really any bodies, but it's built to commemorate people that have died. And I think this is the Great War, that was 1914 to 1919. Cenotaph, that's it there. This cenotaph surrounding area is dedicated to the memory of those who gave their lives for their country. Please respect it and refrain from using it as a sitting or as a play area for your children. Their name liveth evermore. Gonna try and zoom in on that. To the immortal honour of the officers, non-commissioned officers and men of Glasgow who fell in the Great War, this memorial is dedicated in proud and grateful recognition by the City of Glasgow. Sad. And that's the big lions there. Wow. So one of the most iconic parts of Glasgow is the actual George Square. It kind of, a lot of people don't really get to see George Square on a worldwide basis, but it's, as I say, I've always thought this part of Glasgow was probably one of the most beautiful parts of Glasgow. But that building there, I mean, seeing it in the camera doesn't really do it any justice. If you ever get any opportunity to come to Glasgow, visit George Square. It's absolutely amazing, but the architecture is really beautiful as well. Very proud moment. And that there used to be the big post office. It used to be the GPO, the General Post Office building. It's now turned into flats. It used to be a big advertisement thing there. There's a well-known Glasgow developer who owns a chain of liquor stores, or we call them off licenses. And he was also a property developer, and he had a big advertisement thing there, and he was taking ages to get the thing done, and the advertisement was covering the scaffolding, and the city council phoned him up and says, look, get this done, or it's an eyesore, we're sick of this advert. And as I say, this is Thomas Graham. I don't know who he is. Dr. Thomas Graham. (1805 to 1869). Dr. Thomas Graham, brilliant experimental chemist. His statue was gifted by James Paraffin Young. I'm taking it that Paraffin Young was a guy that invented paraffin. Almost positive it is. As I say, this city chamber's hard to really see because it's quite tall. I'm going to need to walk on to the other side of the street. But I think it was Jamie Oliver had a restaurant around here at one point. I don't know if it's still here. I think it was called the Italian something or other. Quite a good restaurant. There's the Piper Bar. And as you can see, the actual city chambers actually goes all the way right round, and there is a street there called John Street. I'm going to take a right here. I'm going to walk round, and I'm going to try and get a... See, these are all listed buildings. That there's a Corinthian building right there at the end of that street on the other side of the road, owned by the same guy that owned the GPO building and renovated it. But it's a well-known, very upmarket restaurant and nightclub, the Corinthian. And you get, this is like the Merchant City part of Glasgow, so you do get a lot of it's called the Merchant City because a lot of the merchants the ships would come off the Clyde that runs kind of near here, and the merchants would all offload their cargo. So in the olden days it was quite a lot of working class people, and it was kind of, there's crews, they sell like fancy gear in there. If you want a pair of running shoes for £300-400, go in there. You'll get your Hugo Bosses in there and all the other stuff. See, a lot of the stuff you see in the windows here, they don't they don't have price tags on them because as they say, if you can't afford it, then you don't need to ask. There's all these models. It's yeah, there's no even, oh that's right, that's Boss there, Boss, Huggle Boss, and that's the Gallery of Modern Art right down there at the bottom. I might cover that at some point in the future, but at the moment this is Ingram Street at the bottom of South Frederick Street, and that there's the Corinthian building. And behind that used to be a savings bank there right in the middle. So I need to be careful that I don't get run over. I don't think that bus has gone left, but I've got the green man on anyway, so. But this is Ingram Street, and it goes through Queen Street, which is the street I told you about earlier on. This Ingram Street As you can see there, it says Jigsaw, but if I can zoom in there, above it at the door it says Savings Bank. If you can see that properly. Savings Bank. And I'm bringing it back to 1.0. That's it. Kind of that. And these are new buildings on the other side of the corner there. It says the Mediterranean. That's like an Italian place. And that's Cruise. That's where they sell all the fancy. It's like the Italian centre, I think they call it. You know, they don't have prices on anything, but I can guarantee you that shirt there is probably worth about £500-600 easily. And that's the XM there. That's a gay nightclub right in the centre. There's the bus just passes by that. This is a kind of gay haunt. This is where gay people go. A lot of gay nightclubs around here. And that there is, I think, Glasgow Street. And we're on Ingram Street heading towards the John Street on the left. As I say, that's Foot Solutions. I don't know if Foot Solutions is that's it there, the Italian centre. And and it's got all the Italian designers in there. And actually I've never been in the actual, I've never been in here before. At this bit anyway. A combustion engined tricycle. Oh, not 100% sure, but the Med Lounge, I think that's just opened actually. As I say, replay conditions, whatever that is. I don't know what replay is. And that there is a Hutchison's restaurant that is white there, right on that corner, that white building. 1802 Hutchison's Hall. The restaurant is named after Hutchison's Hall. It's a restaurant. And this is, as I say, I'm going to go up here to the left. I'm trying to get a good view of the archway up here. And that's the arches are at the very end of this street. And as I say, there's quite a few gay bars around here. That's another entrance to the Italian centre. But, and that there's the committee rooms. It's a kind of a pub / restaurant. And that's Speakeasy. That's also a gay nightclub, which is quite, I've never been in it. Been in the XM, been in the Polo Lounge, the Monica's, been to a few of the underground pubs and stuff. This is the archway there, and as you can see, I'll try and get a right good view of this here. This is absolutely beautiful. I'll try and tilt it up a bit. It's beautiful, absolutely stunning. I mean, the architecture is absolutely amazing. I still think this part of Glasgow is probably one of the nicest parts of the city. Freshers join a committee. Live sports. Let's see what's on. Eh? Join freshers. Midweek madness, best pre-party in town. Thursday, DJ Charlie student showdown. Friday night live, big Saturday session. And then on Sundays, the student come down movie marathon. Oh, I don't think any of these buildings have got toilets in them, and I am bursting. And not just for a pee, man. Seriously. I'm going to need to go somewhere. Well, I might cut this short and just put this down as my first part and put everything away, go and do what I need to do and then come back again. But it's been 24 minutes. And this is Cochrane Street, so thank you. If you've liked the video, then like, comment, subscribe, and if you need any videos or you think that there's something that you want to see, give me a shout. So like, comment, subscribe. Goodbye.